Hello, welcome everyone to my YouTube channel, The Movie Canon. This is technically a Met Report episode, which is a show about movies, entertainment, and television news. But for this particular episode, this is just going to be a Figures Talk segment. I was working on Horror Talk this weekend, so right now it's just going to be a Figures Talk segment. And the first thing I want to talk about here today is, of course, this Wanda Artisan Hot Toys that was announced last week. So this is the first time I think that Marvel, the MCU, and Hot Toys have released this Artisan, with the rooted hair. And there's also a sculpted hair version, if I'm not mistaken, there. Now, if you look at the photo here, the image, now this looks really, really good. I like the red eyes here, stuff that we saw in previous MCU movies where Wanda, gets all crazy and so forth. This particular Wanda comes from Avengers Endgame. As a lot of you guys know, when it comes to pre-ordering figures, 1/6 figures, Hot Toys, or whatever the case might be, Sideshow collectibles, whatever that might be, I use Sideshow, the biggest distributor in the United States. So far, that's the one that I've been using. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. That's just the one that I find convenient, and it's actually close. I think they're in California, so I use them. Now, this figure is about to go up on pre-order on Sideshow. So Sideshow pre-order opens on October 5th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And from my understanding on this, unlike the other Artisans that we just saw come out, like the Anakin Skywalker, the Artisan Joker Hot Toys, so those figures actually had a little bit more a number of figures that will actually be produced. From my understanding, this one's only going to be 1,500 figures that will be produced. I don't know how many Sideshow is going to get. In comparison, the Hot Toys Joker Artisan, they had 4,000, and that's worldwide. So I don't know how many Sideshow got. Maybe they got half of it. I have no idea. And the Anakin, which was very hard to get, that one was 3,000 that they're going to produce worldwide. And again, I don't know how many Sideshow got. Maybe they got half of them, or 2,000, or who knows. Now this one is 1,500 Wanda Artisan Hot Toy that will be produced, and I don't know how many Sideshow is going to actually get. So maybe it's half, maybe it's 1,000. I doubt that it's 1,000. I know a lot of collectors wanted this specific Wanda because we already have a couple of Wandas that Hot Toys has made or produced. They have the WandaVision Wanda figure, and we have the Doctor Strange. And years ago, it looks like they also made the Civil War Wanda. So this is the first time that we see this Artisan Edition from Avengers Endgame. So I know a lot of collectors are trying to get her, and just like I'm sure it's going to be just as hard, if not more, because there's fewer of them. But I'm going to see if I can share my page here, the screen, so you can see some of their images. So now, the base on this looks really, really cool. We see it's lighting up there. It says stunning hair craftsmanship, since this is an Artisan. And as I mentioned before, there's also a sculpted version as well that will be available. And from my understanding, I think you're supposed to try to get them at the same time. If you want to get the sculpted hair, I think you have to go through this whole process. As I mentioned before here, the October 5th, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So I do know you have to RSVP, so make sure to RSVP if you want this Artisan Wanda Hot Toy. Definitely do that. But yeah, so some other pictures here, separate rolling eyeballs, like a lot of Hot Toys have been having that lately, and she looks really, really great. I'm personally not gonna pick her up because she doesn't fit my collection. I think the only Marvel character that I have pre-ordered is the Spider-Man Tom Holland red and blue from Spider-Man No Way Home. I think that, actually I did get Captain Marvel for free, so technically I do have one Marvel character But I mean, this looks really good to me. Like I said, I like this look here, luminous reflective effect. The red eyes looks pretty badass, and with the rooted hair, yeah, she looks really good. And I'm sure she's going to be expensive. For example, the Anakin Artisan was a little over 400, and I think the Joker is over 500. So I'm not sure how much this one's going to be. Maybe 450, 500, around there, I'm guessing. The sculpted hair version maybe like 375, maybe, yeah, maybe around there, somewhere around there. So yeah, that's the Scarlet Witch. That's the one I want to talk about. And there's also another one here real quick that I wanted to mention, and this is actually from Inart. So actually Inart's been like doing a lot of announcements or teases and things like that are grabbing a lot of people's attention, myself included, although I'm still not ready to actually try to buy a figure from there. But they did tease a couple of things there. So here it is. So this is the tease. Okay, so there's a Shanghai Wonder Festival that's about to begin, I believe, on Monday, October 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. So they're already teasing some figures for that particular event, and this is the tease that you see here. Now there is a few that are kind of obvious, and there's some that which is one of them is from the Hobbit movie. But you can see right there, one of them is obviously Dumbledore. So it looks like Inart is making a Dumbledore 1/6 scale figure. Now they already made the Harry Potter one that they announced a few months ago, so it looks like Dumbledore is coming. And next to Dumbledore is looks like it's Daenerys Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, so it looks like she's coming. And the next two people, but I'm referring to the other two on the left side of the screen here. Obviously one of them is Superman. From what I've been hearing online, it looks like it might be a 2-pack where you get Clark Kent and Superman. Now this is the Superman from the 1978 movie. So this is Christopher Reeve. You know, throughout the 1/6 scale community, I know there was a lot of demand for this particular character to for Hot Toys to either redo or do a 2.0 of it or whatever, because I believe they already did one of them. But it looks like Inart is tackling this Christopher Reeve Superman. They just recently announced, or not announced, they put up for pre-order the Henry Cavill Superman just this week. Actually, they just put it up for a pre-order, so now they're tackling yet another Superman, Christopher Reeve, and it looks like it's going to be a 2-pack. At least that's not official or anything, but that's what I'm hearing. And you can see these two characters here right next to each other, Superman, and the next one might be Clark Kent. So it looks like the Hobbit character is Thorin. I believe that's the speculation anyways. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, especially in The Hobbit. Definitely not a big fan of the Hobbit. You know, they're okay, but definitely wouldn't spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a Hobbit figure. But anyways, it looks like Thorin is being presented here. Looks like they may reveal these figures next week at this event in Shanghai. So yeah, so I found this interesting because the Dumbledore, you know, the actor just recently died. Michael Gambon just recently died, and the previous Dumbledore, Richard Harris, I believe his name, he passed away, you know, after the second Harry Potter movie. So now both actors who have portrayed Dumbledore, they both have passed away. So rest in peace for both of them. Now I'm interested to see this Dumbledore though. Like I wonder, are they gonna do the Michael Gambon Dumbledore or the Richard Harris? Because the Harry Potter that they made, that Inart made or is making, is from the first movie, from the Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone movie. So obviously it's a younger Harry Potter, so I wonder if they're going to do Dumbledore from the first movie, which would be Richard Harris. So I'm curious to see which one they're going to want to go with. And obviously I want to see Daenerys, I want to see how she looks like, so I'm very curious about that. And obviously Superman and Clark Kent. Most likely I'm not going to pick any of these guys up here, but and then Thorin, like I said, I'm not really interested in. So I thought that was interesting to, you know, show that little tease before they actually announce something. So that was very cool. And another thing that I just heard recently is this. So it looks like there is a tease for Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker. So it looks like that's going to be one of the reveals next week, from my understanding of this. Obviously, he wasn't in that little tease image that I just showed you guys. But yeah, they're doing a Joaquin Phoenix Joker Inart. So I know a lot of people are very excited for him. So we'll see how that one turns out. And let's see here. So also Inart earlier this week had their Superman Henry Cavill go up for pre-order. So I know they've been showing a lot of images throughout the months. So this is the Inart or Queen Studios website page. So this Superman Henry Cavill is from Batman vs Superman, 6 scale figure, and I'll show you some images in just a bit here. So I mean, I talked briefly about this figure like a couple months ago or so. They didn't really have that many images yet. Now the cape here looks legit. This looks really, really good to me. From my understanding of this, I don't have any Superman figures of any sort, but from what I've heard from other collectors is that the Hot Toys version is not that great, and a lot of collectors are very excited for this one here. I know when they first mentioned this, or showed a little tease of this Henry Cavill Superman, I know there were collectors were complaining about the S was too small. I think they might have fixed it a little bit. I think it looks big enough there. I don't think it's too tiny. So, and right here, this particular shot right here, this image, he really does look like Henry Cavill, because there were some other images where he doesn't. Like right here, he does look like Henry Cavill to me, but there's some other ones where he just doesn't. And I like that he has the spear here with the kryptonite. That looks really cool. And I know some collectors had an issue with the zipper, that it might like ruin the suit over time. I'm not entirely sure, but I know that was a bit of a controversy, but we'll see what happens with that. And so let me see if there's some other photos. So here's another image here of Henry Cavill's Superman Inart. So again, this one's already for pre-orders. So now let's look at the price actually. So going back here, because they should have a price. Okay, so I know if you want to pre-order this, is what says product not available in your country. Okay, right. So because they don't, you can't really get it directly from Inart, because I think they're not licensed to actually sell these figures in the US. But there's, you know, distributors out there that will sell it, will sell him or whatever. But I know that I seen it was $60. Oh, this is the one that I was trying to get. This picture here, that looks cool. You know, holding the Batman cowl there here, so that looks really cool. And I'm trying to find like an actual price, because I know I've seen the price before, and I think I saw it was $400, so $399. So the deposit is $60, and then later eventually you have to pay for the rest of it. So yeah, so that's the Superman one, and let me see if there's any other ones. Oh, actually, this is the first time that I'm going to talk about a third-party figure, only because I didn't think that they would ever make this particular figure, and I'm kind of excited about it. And it actually turns out to, it looks kind of good, especially for a third party. But so this is the Mr. Freeze Arnold Schwarzenegger 1/6 scale figure, a manufacturer called, I think it's called Dragon Toy, obviously in China. They're not licensed per se, so that's where you see the Dr. Zero, because they can't say Mr. Freeze, but this is Mr. Freeze. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. This figure looks really, really cool, and even though the movie Batman Robin is definitely not a good movie, I mean, I find it to be fun because of all the ice puns Schwarzenegger makes and just some other stupid things that happen in that movie. So it's one of those guilty pleasure movies, I guess. But Batman Robin is definitely not a good movie. But I did want this Mr. Freeze figure. I just never thought that Hot Toys would make him, and I mean, they're not making him. they're not producing him, but this third party is. And to me, he looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. And then from my understanding, I think he's not too long of a wait. I think he'll be released the first quarter of next year, 2024. And then you can see him here with like the wings or whatever that he used in the movie, which is kind of ridiculous, by the way, but there it is. And I like this right here, this LED light up helmets. Like this shot right here looks really cool. So I'm definitely interested in this because I did want a Mr. Freeze. There's no George Clooney Hot Toys that's been announced or anything, but I know I wanted a Mr. Freeze because Mr. Freeze is one of my favorite Batman villains. You know, the Joker, Riddler, and Mr. Freeze is one of them. And so yeah, so I'm very interested in this one. So I really like the way that one comes out. Hopefully it turns out and looks like this when the final figure actually is done, because you know there's just a prototype. And because I wanted a different Mr. Freeze before, like the Mondo version, because I wanted to get some Mondo figures, like the Batman from the animated series and the Joker, Mark Hamill. And I wanted this one, but this Mr. Freeze from Mondo was very limited, and I missed out on that a long time ago. I wasn't collecting when this actually came out. So yeah, so there's that. And then also there's another manufacturer that when Dragon Toys released or announced their Mr. Freeze or Dr. Zero, the manufacturer, I think this is Soso. This is their Mr. Freeze, also not licensed, so they call him Mr. Ice. Mr. Ice, so there you go. They don't have anything else as far as like the Mr. Freeze outfit like the other one, so I'm leaning more towards the one that I showed you before. So this one right here. But yeah, that was interesting that they're doing this. So yeah, so that's pretty much it here. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this Figures Talk segment, which is technically the Met Report. And that's it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And you know, future giveaways and so forth. And right now I still have the Spider-Man giveaway. Spider-Man 2 game, I should say, from the PS5 physical copy. So that is still open. And subscribe to the channel. Follow the Instagram page. If you have a mailing address within the United States, make sure that you have that address, and that's where you can enter and possibly win. Alright, so that's pretty much it, everyone. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time.